Everybody on Earth has a red line on their head that connects those who have slept together. They're invisible to everyone except for Hyun Hoop. Hyun Hoop opens the cardboard covering her window to hear a man in a car that has multiple red lines, trying to lure a schoolgirl into his car. The woman vaping in front of her house tries to greet her, but she closes the window. Hyun Hoop sits in the dark, wearing sunglasses, regretting that certain things in life should not be seen. And she has been seeing them since childhood. As she got older, she came to grasp what they meant. She was unable to end her life, so she now decides to find who created those lines, and who else can see these lines. We see Detective Han complain about taking care of his niece, and laughs when a coworker wonders what will happen to her if he gets married. Meanwhile, he is having an affair with another coworker who is set to marry, and his niece is being bullied at school, and the kids accuse her of reporting it to her uncle. At a crime scene, Han looks into a strange death. Hyun Hyu gets another fruit delivery from her new neighbor. While watching the news on a local murder, she notices someone with only one line, which is unusual. She sees the single-line person across the road. She thinks he is the killer, but the new neighbor seemed to welcome him and they started doing their thing. She watches as a new line forms and connects them. Han's niece, Seone, skips school, and as she asks her uncle for money to pay them back, the bullies break into her locker. He gives her what's in his wallet and observes the bruises on her face and arms, but she refuses to speak to him. Smoking out the window, he observes the neighboring apartment where Han Hyuk has removed some of the cardboard, just as his colleague phones to submit a police complaint in their area. He goes there to find out. She hesitates as he approaches the door with tons of lines in his head. Another neighbor says that she, a well-known loner. She opens the door and explains that she accidentally called the emergency number and closes the door. Later, another delivery man with a single line approaches the building. Han and his coworker Dongji are discussing coincidences at the station, but just as they are ready to leave, Han receives word that his father has gone missing. He finds him at the hospital, standing on the rooftop. Meanwhile, Dongji is attacked while he searches for clues. Hyun Hoot notices the person with one line again while glancing up at her new neighbor's house. When she sees him attacking, she takes a knife and her sunglasses but finds it difficult to leave. She loses it and collapses out of fear on the street. The neighbor recognizes Jung Min as he attempts to strangle her. As Han Hyuk enters the apartment with her knife, he effortlessly snatches it and stabs her. Han notices Hyun Hyuk's open apartment door. He walks in to investigate, seeing her S-line board, and then notices the fight across the street. He shoots Jung Min before she is stabbed again. Jung Min remarked on the disappearing lines as he passed out. Hyun Hyuk believes that Jung Min's glasses may have given him the power to see S-lines. At school, we encounter Kyu Jin, who drives so slowly that the students mocks her. Detective Han's niece attends the same school, and she wonders about the number of high school students who have had physical relationship, believing it is vastly underestimated. Even she has a red line. Hyun Hyuk cleans up at home by removing the cardboard from her windows. But back at school, Sienna tries to confront her bully until Kyu Jin stops them. Sienna is ready to go home after being scolded for the fight. Before she goes, she discovers a pair of specs in her locker. Detective Han Ji-wook remains at the station, pondering the case. Something feels odd. So he returns to the killer's flat, only to see a wall covered in red markings. At home, Sienna may see a line over her own head when wearing the glasses. When Jae-wook returns home, she screams at the amount of lines. Walking down the street, she notices them over practically everyone's heads. The next day, she wears the glasses to school and notices the connections, in particular establishing a teacher-student relationship. She giggles as she discovers that her homeroom professor, Kyu Jin, has no lines. Then, unexpectedly, Hyun Heap enters their class as a transfer. Still on the investigation, Jae-wook notices the killer's spectacles in one shot but fails to find them in the evidence box. He goes to the school and approaches Kyu Jin in the office, asking if Jung Min usually wears glasses. Sienna confronts her bully on the school roof, only to be kicked again. Hyun Hoo jumps in to stop the fight and makes some severe actions. After some flirtation, Jae-wook moves on to his next lead, a pub that Jung Min visited. Apparently, he used to drink and count to himself, which led to a confrontation with another customer. The bartender observes that, unlike the headshot, Jung Min used to wear specs. Walking home, Sienna notices her bully entering a hotel with a teacher and immediately sends her a photo. Bully Ha-young responds that the instructor would be in danger, not her. The next day, the teacher receives the identical photograph along with a blackmail message demanding 20 million won in cash. Walking home, Sienna wonders if 20 M is enough for a deposit on an apartment. She can't wait to leave. On the issue of not having parents, Hyun Hoot wonders if her mother is still alive. The next day at school, with a viral photo and a new bully in town, Hyun-Hoo confronts Seona about seeing red lines with the glasses, and she admits to seeing them herself. However, Seona refuses to listen to the warning that the previous owner is dead. Now that the teacher understands Seona is threatening him, he sends a message stating that he has prepared the money, and Seona goes on a date with her bully's boyfriend. However, Hae-young overheard Seona's talk with Hyun-Hoo and is aware of the glasses. Following her, Hae-young swipes them, but Seona believes it was Hyun-Hoo who took them. After accusing Hyun-Hoo, Seona goes to school to collect from the teacher. As he attempts to get out of this situation, his wife messages him an image she recently got. Caught. Just like Hyun, when Hoop comes, she discovers Seona has fallen off the roof and died. We return to Hyun-Hoo, who sees Seona fall to the ground. They hurry her to the hospital. When Detective Han arrives, he discovers Hyun-Hoo waiting outside, but she appears to know nothing, except she doesn't think it was suicide. The next day at school, one of the instructors is absent. As the staff talks about what happened, teacher Jung-woo says, when asked for good news, that he is no longer wanting to marry. Later, he visits his sister's residence for a week before moving to Canada. Seona is in the hospital on an oxygen mask with her uncle by her side. While Hyun-Hoo silently searches for answers at school, another student observes that Seona's bully, Hae-young, has also not reported for class. Hyun-Hoo examines persons wearing circular gold-rimmed spectacles. Teacher Jung-woo discovers glasses on his desk and, upon trying them on, perceives red lines over people's heads. Like everyone else, he panics out when he sees the multitude of lines above Detective Han. Han speaks with teacher Kyu-jin about his niece, and then with Seona's date, Jae-won, who is neither helpful nor concerned. But he observes that Seona fled when she discovered that anything was missing. Han discovers CCTV evidence of Hae-young the bully snatching her bag. During dinner at his sister's house, teacher Jung-woo confesses his breakup with his fiancée, who had cheated on him with a friend. While hanging out with his brother-in-law, he finds he has had or is having an affair with another person in the building. At work, the police want to dismiss Seona's incident as an attempted suicide in order to please the school board, but Han is resolute, disputing with his boss. Jung-woo sees connections amongst instructors while working in the teacher's offices. He asks Kyu-jin what she would do if she discovered someone dear to her was being tricked. She encourages him to be assured before saying anything, but she also wants to see how the drama unfolds. When a parcel is mistakenly delivered to his sister's apartment, Jung-woo investigates. Instead of sharing what he hears, he and his sister chat about their father's affair and the pain it caused. At school, a photo of Hae-young with the missing teacher is going around. Han is on the scene of another suicide, reading a handwritten will. Based on his observations, he believes the body was relocated there after death. After school, Hyun-Hoo is chatting with her classmates until Han brings her up for a conversation regarding his niece. She mentions the glasses, pushing him to discover them, and once he does, she will explain them. Jung-woo sees his brother-in-law at the apartment building, who is supposed to be away for work. Following him via cab, he discovers him dining with another woman and handing her gifts. He calls to report that he is unable to reach his sister and discovers a hotel room key card on his brother-in-law's table. At the hotel, Jung-woo approaches his robed brother-in-law, who vows to fix everything and return to his wife. The next day, when he prepares to depart, his brother-in-law has not contacted his sister as promised. He stalks the other woman on Instagram and discovers she's pregnant. Unable to reach his sister, he rushes back to her apartment only to see her ramming into the other woman's car. The brother-in-law arrives to console his date, leaving Jung-woo's sister with him. He loses his cool and punches his brother-in-law while his sister tells him to stop. It turns out she's the other woman, and that woman is the man's wife, unaware of her husband's affair. Han is inspired to rush home and explore his niece's room after seeing the latest victim's will at the station. He finds a notebook and asks Hyun-Hoo about the drawings of glasses and red lines. She shows that the glasses allow you to see S lines. Han continues to question, could there be more than one pair of glasses? As they talk, he imagines how difficult her life must be, with those lines everywhere. At school, an assistant with gold-rimmed glasses gets scolded. At lunch, she tells coworkers that she wants to be an actor. Later, wearing a wig, she visits the same hotel where Hyun-Hoo is working that weekend. Hyun-Hoo's buddies arrive at work just in time to meet the wait assistant, whom they identify as a member of the school staff. Han continues to research his niece's event, and he keeps returning to her attitude shift after discovering the glasses. He searches through old case papers involving Hyun-Hoo's father's death. Later, she verifies that Seona was not connected through the S lines to anybody in their class. Watching the news, Hyun-Hoo notices another murder case with a culprit wearing gold-rimmed glasses. Could there be several pairs? After school, Jun-si meets Hyun-Hoo and brings her to a nearby pool to chill together. After randomly entering dressed, they eat ramyeon to warm up. She tells him about S lines, and he believes her since she has no need to lie. At the motel, the wigged lady reappears, reciting her lines about being involved with several people. She also mentions spying people from that place using her glasses. Then, via the peephole, she notices her attractive colleague having a private meeting with an actress in the next room. After overhearing their promise to meet again, she waits for the actress to arrive and knocks her out, leaving her tied up in her room. She puts on the actress's outfit and joins her coworker next door for his planned meeting. She repeats her words to him, stapler in hand. He passes out while trying to walk quietly away. She confesses to tainting his water after he has been put to the bed but out. Looking at him in the mirror, she notices blood dripping from his head and spreading on the bed. Instead of helping him, she acts out a disturbing fantasy while watching herself in the mirror. Later, sitting in the bathtub, she stapled her arms and legs, even her face. When the actress flees, Han Hyuk discovers her in the corridor. She steps into the room next door to find the man dead on the bed and the assistant in the tub, both in pools of blood. When Han arrives to check, he discovers that there are no glasses in the room. According to Hyun Hyuk, the spectacles always make the user feel exceptional. Han returns to the site and drains the bloody tub water to retrieve the glasses, which he can't help but put on, and then he notices all his red lines. Han reflected on his life and how his dreams were just to be free, but he has been Seon's guardian for many years. He can now see the lines and connections at work while wearing his glasses, or a lack of contacts. Han is determined to find out and brings Ji-won to the hospital to visit Seon. Surprised to find no red lines separating them, he inquires about past relationships. At home, Hyun Hyuk texts with her friends, who have agreed to throw a birthday party for her. The next day, she is shocked to find a classmate with 4 red lines. Han listens to a report on a physical assault. He goes to the school to investigate, observing how many pupils are in queues, and Kyu-jin, the teacher, has none. They interview Han Yu but do not go very far. On the way to school, Hyun Hyuk notices Han wearing spectacles. He claims he's evaluating the glasses' capabilities, but Hyun Hyuk questions why a forensic team isn't doing the same. She chastises him for wearing them carelessly, knowing what they can do, and the latest crime is related to those classes. Hyun intervenes when she hears rising voices, but Hyun Hyuk flees. Before departing, Han uncomfortably invites Kyu-jin to dinner, but then immediately retracts the invitation. As he goes away, it appears that she can see his bouquet of S lines smiling after him. Continuing the inquiry, Han approaches Gina's entertainment firm, but they claim to have fired her for not working hard enough. They also reveal that she is the ringleader in persuading the other youngsters to drink. Driving back, Dong-sik wishes they had a reliable lie detector for this case, which makes Han wonder. Then he asks if Han is interested in that teacher, which he instantly rejects. Dong-sik double-teams kids, questioning Han Yu and checking his phone while Han chats with Ji-na and her mother. He does a small experiment but does not observe their lines intersect. In the area, Han Hyuk waits for Han while checking his glasses. He warns her that while they may be deadly, they might also assist certain individuals. She mentions that Ji-na did not have any S lines the week before. The detectives rush back to visit Han Yu at home. Meanwhile, Hyun Hyuk explores the hotel, reflecting on her talk with Han. How about the synchronicity of the glasses appearing where she works? Jun-sin follows her inside, anxious that something is wrong. She attempts to explain what she sees over people's heads, but he panics and they kiss instead. At Han Yu's building, the detectives search through clothes donation bins for what may be Han Yu's rude sheets. Back in interrogation, the detectives ask why Gina's blood is on the bedding, but he has an explanation. He was never interested in her. However, examining CCTV footage provides Han with a clue. Walking down the corridor, Hyun Hyuk notices that 4 men all appear to have lines for Ji-na. She hastily contacts Han, but he is already in school. Taking the 4 to the police station, Han selects the weak link and drives him to the location, where they wait for him to crack. It does not take long. Soon, in separate statements, they all blame Han Yu for planning the attack and drugging Ji-na. He claims he didn't do it, but Han sees him as the mastermind. Driving home with Hyun Hyuk, Han says they must leave it to the court. She wonders whether his S lines have left him feeling empty on the inside. They are interrupted by a call from his father's care facility, informing them that he is once again gone. Han drops Hyun Hyuk at the bus station and rushes to the care facility. They watch a lady escorting the father to a cab on the hospital's CCTV cameras. He rushes to Sienna's hospital room, delegating Dong-sik to investigate Kyu-jin's past. In Sienna's room, he notices her S-line bending towards the door. Han's father steps in, and he can't believe what he sees. Cut to Hyun Hyuk, who is covered in blood and calls Han for help. A woman receives an inappropriate private video. When she joins her university class, it is clear that she is the current hot subject. She tears at home, behind her blanket, while receiving threatening messages. That evening she tries to walk into traffic, but Kyu-jin stops her. Before leaving, Kyu-jin naively hands her the glasses. Zip to Han-hoop, who is waiting at the bus stop for Jun-seon. She begs him for a favor, which puts them in a hotel room. She then notices the S line that connects them. While walking towards the bus, he suddenly dashes off to fetch them some food. While she waits, Han-hoop observes her new S-line fade and looks around to see what's going on. Jun-seon has what appear to be metal rods poking out of his back. She believes she is cursed and witnesses the death of another person close to her. Han-hoop then checks a video clip from a school buddy tied up, coupled with a happy 17th greeting and an invitation to the Chamber of Limits. She phones Detective Han for help. In the vehicle, Han is still thinking about Seonna's terrible S-line. Han-hoop interrupts him to explain that someone has been counting down to her 17th birthday and that something is expected of her. She shows him the texts. Han begins to piece together the details, such as how she was enticed to the school and how he obtained the spectacle. Could this be the same person? Han remarks that her teacher, Kyu-jin, does not exist. They rush into the school building, heading for the brightly illuminated classroom. Han-hoop locates her companion, who claims she came to meet Han-hoop. The girls rush out to get Han, but every time they walk the stairs, they end up on the same floor again. Han walks up to the roof, and the girls follow suit after hearing a door. But they aren't at the same location. Han approaches a gathering of people, with one commenting on how fortunate she was to have met her. She recalls their talk in which Kyu-jin questioned if she still wanted to die or would rather kill. The lady claims that with the spectacles, she discovered a new purpose in life, eliminating a line every time she murders someone else. She discovers a guy and raises her knife, ready to sever her final sin and be reborn. On Han's roof, he notices Kyu-jin approaching with millions of red marks on her head. When she notices him, she discovers Han's father, who is chained and covered in blood. She hands Han a sword, wondering whether he wants to rescue Seon-ae. Han turns the knife on her, but she effortlessly grabs it from him and stabs Han's father. When he shoots at her, the bullets deflect as she walks toward him, grabbing him around the neck. On their own roof, Han-hoop tries to explain what's going on, only to discover that Jaeon-jin is wearing the glasses. Jaeon-jin attempts to strangle Han-hoop, but when they fight, Han-hoop destroys the glasses, and Jaeon-jin comes to her senses. She realizes that Han-hoop's eye color has altered. Drops of blood divert Han-hoop, and she finds herself in a throng with Kyu-jin, who informs her that her ability to see S-lines from birth is a gift. The crowd takes their glasses and surrounds Han-hoop. Kyu-jin wields a long sword, prepared to slash. However, Han-hoop's mother moves forward to defend her daughter and falls to the ground instead. Her mother acknowledges that she, too, had the glasses and that it was not Han-hoop's fault. Getting up from her mother, Han-hoop charges at Kyu-jin, directly into her sword, yet her blood floats away and drops. She soon rises, threads breaking out of her and tugging her toward a crimson ball. After a few moments, she is carefully dropped to the ground as the ball approaches them. As Kyu-jin watches, Han-hoop stabs her, but she says it's too late. They've already accomplished what they came for. The crowd begins to shout and flees as all of the glasses, including Han's, are lost. Suddenly, Han-hoop, and Jaeon-jin are on the roof together. He grabs for his spectacles, but they fall. People on the streets marvel at the crimson night sky. Everyone sees everyone's red lines. Later on the subway, everyone wears glasses, and Han-hoop expresses her desire to finally be normal. Seon wakes up from her coma and is reborn without the S-line. As for the rest, Han-hoop is once again alone. When she visits Jun-seon's grave, she hears someone say her name, and it's Kyu-jin. But that's where this video ends. Let me know what you think about the series. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.